more about how successful you already are. And to really attain what real success is very, very simple. You're watching this program, so you had the intention to watch the video. Anything you do, you have with your body, in a sense, you have an objective. Well, I'm going to eat something, so you go and you fix something to eat, or you go out and buy it, or whatever. You're successful. You're successful. See, the idea of failure is the ultimate failure. They call it death. The ultimate failure, really, in this world is have no money at all, you see, because then we say, well, how much is that person? They're worth billions. Like they're worth more than somebody who does not have any money at all, or whatever money is. You mean that person with the $9 billion is worth more than the person over there that is begging to just, do you have a little something for me, you see? And also, that failure has been ingrained in people's minds. And then we ridicule failures, and we ostracize failures, and we throw them away and all that sort of thing, because you're not valuable. You don't know anything. You don't have anything that we want. You see, it's interesting how, like, a lot of stuff is changing, where families always supported each other. And you could see now many children who have gained from their parents and money from their parents and support. When their parents need help, they're not there. They're not there to help. And it's like, oh, really? And then you see these kind of things happening, and you see where people are being drugged. Is that people need drugs? Because they have all these problems. But you have to look at, where does the problem come from? And the problem comes from basically the fear of failure, the fear of future failure. So then you do all these things because you don't want to die. You don't want to lose the body. You don't want to lose your friends. You don't want to lose your job. Because you don't want to fail and be ridiculed and not be good enough, and the neighbors will talk about you. And they're already criticizing you anyway, because criticism is a symptom of envy. And envy is a disease of humanity that has this poverty consciousness of not good enough. So they're always saying, well, the more degrees I have, the better I am. The more money I have, the more... No, it just shows you how you've bought into the system. And what you're doing is you're using all of your energy for that which is going to give you 5 cents gratification and the prolonging of the physical body. And this comes from the indoctrination, the education of information to line up with the belief that you're basically a meat stick. And so it's just a stick of meat. You're also classified your body as an animal. So if people eat animals, then your body is classified as an animal. That's not true. Your body is a human body. It's not an animal body. And there's always similarities. You have to understand this, because it's called... in Sanskrit, achincha beta beta tattva, that we're inconceivably simultaneously the same and different, you see. But you get the oneness people, no, we're all the same. We're like mush. We're like, all the places I've been, all the experiences I've had, and all of it, I'm always there. And you're always there, because and you never even really go anywhere. You're just being here. But the whole thing of success, and it's like... Well, all my studies and all the work that I've done, I started around in high school and wanting to know if there was a God, and if there was God, you got to find me. Not a belief system, not going into standard brand churches and getting their indoctrination and dogma and all, as if you don't know yourself. And the real key is you use teachings to help you come to the realization of who you are, and also to expand your perception of what's possible. And what happens is, because we're always successful, whatever you agree with, you're going to you're going to manifest, because it's your nature. You're a creative being, and when you agree with something, you accept it as real and true and valid. For you, it is. Now, there is ultimate absolute truth. So, well, it's your truth, my truth, or no real truth, and you're just... No, that's just the mind. And if you really look at that, what the mind is, the mind is the problem. And when you go to the mind to solve your problems, because you don't want to be a failure, you want to be adored, you want to be appreciated, you want to be acknowledged, you want to have money, you want to have play, you want to have fun, you want to do all these things because it's your nature. You already can do that, but because of the layers of ignorance of beliefs and words and hypnotic trance and simulations and programming of the unconscious, the subconscious, the conscious, the books, all of this, it's all geared towards your future success. So in your retirement years, your golden years, because they're all on all these drugs and new legs and hearts and minds and brains, and then as someone told me, oh, exciting, they're going to be able to bring consciousness into the machine. Oh, they're so excited. You're so stupid. And the problem with people being stupid is that they're actually geniuses. And so their stupidity will be successful because that's all you are. And is an interesting thing about, all the years when I started learning and going not through the educational system, it didn't have anything there for me. So I would use knowledge to support me in attaining what I desire within my heart, to be all that I am. And I would study masters, and I would go sit at their feet, their seminars, their workshops, and all that. And I always noticed what happened, living in India and studying master mystics and all of this. And also to be able to attain everything in the material world is success of a great, ministry and my work and all of that. Because I learned what the systems are and the formulas are that you follow. But more and more always led me to also more and more empowering myself and enriching myself and being to help other people to do the same and to achieve that which they desire to achieve. And so, I have so many masters, people of all walks of life that I have worked with, and they've studied with me and attended my services and read my books and all of this, because I don't hold back on the secrets. I am there to empower people to attain all of their heart's desires, and that not mental desires, but who you really are and the full self-expression of the person in every way. But what happens, and there tends to be, is that when students start to criticize the teacher, when students start to find fault with the person that's giving them knowledge, because it's really interesting that when I have, I'll use the maestro, who is my, teaching me to be an opera singer, basically to actually know that my body's a musical instrument and to be able to experience the fullness of the voice, the sound. And here we're operating in basically the cosmic sound. And so what happens is that I studied with the master. Now, did I judge him because of who his relationships are? Did I judge him because of where he was living? Did I judge him because he didn't have the kind of furniture and keep his house the way I wanted him to? And then it's so interesting that the mind is such a dangerous thing, because it's always looking for faults. It's always, and we have a preconceived idea of what we think is valid and true. I remember this one person that I knew, and he was an artist, writer, musician, this kind of person. He was kind of making it a little bit, having a good. Then he meets this friend of mine who, a wealthy woman, and she's very much interested. She's one of my students, and interested in making good investments and all of this. She did this. So actually they got married, and then when she passed away, of course, he had all of this money. Then he, married someone else, which is fine, all that. But here's the key. He looks down on people and criticizes them who didn't plan for their old age. Well, he hadn't. He was like a trust funder in that sense. He got it from somebody else. He didn't earn it. And then to be arrogant, to then judge everybody else by your standards of how they're supposed to be and act in order to be valid and useful, again, that's that whole success failure syndrome. that what we do is we have been so programmed as to what is acceptable, what is valuable. And I was part of that. You know, when you're looking at your life of where you want to be and what you want to do, then you start to study people who are already there and attaining what it is that you desire. Not that you copy them, but there's also, you know, information and knowledge that you can apply and you can use for yourself. But the real key here is that if there's anything you want to master, you go to people who have mastered that. And mastered it truly in the consciousness of living in that divine joy and the beingness of who they are, and being able to accomplish that which you desire to accomplish, and to attain that which you desire to attain, that is for your highest and best eternally. And then you no longer have to deal in the realm of success and failure and judging and evaluating everybody, whether they fit your standard or not, to be called valuable and they're worth it. When you really get into it, that's why, you know, little children are so precious and sweet and innocent, because you know, in those early times, because they're still being really true to their inner selves until they learn the language. And when they learn the language, you begin to speak, then they shut down so much, and this has been proven in studies, that they shut down their inner knowing. And what we've got to do is to open that inner knowing back up again, and to monitor ourselves and our arrogance and our judging and condemning other people and who they are, and all of that. To actually really, you have work to do on yourself. And when we really want to master something, you need to go to the masters who've mastered it. And that these people can help you to attain what you desire, and then you can pick and choose as to what it is that you want to learn and what you want to do and what you want to know. And the real form of education is to help you to become, to realize, to be that divine genius that you really are, you see. And so we have to then transcend this whole game of success failure that's propagated everywhere, and also how it tortures young people committing suicide and all these terrible things because of ridicule that people have done so heartlessly. Because they're, you know, like if you have a dog that bites, probably you're that kind of a person inside. Somewhere the dog's picking that up. People don't get that. So tune into yourself and do that self-searching. And look at who are you judging and criticizing and evaluating and talking about all the time, and always focused on that, because that's envy. Because your own feelings of unworthiness, and then you put yourself together as this fake, false person that we've all been taught to do, and then living out our fake, phony lives by fulfilling our character and playing our part in the script and doing the role that we've been programmed to play like good little girls and boys, and all shut down, and then just silently, what would you say, inside, as Emerson said, living lives of quiet desperation. Whew, I know. So the key to always is investing in yourself with the finding and seeking and the knowledge that's going to give you what you already have, but to know it, to experience, to be it in the fullness of all that is possible for you. And you're not going to find it in the bureaucratic level of life that's monitoring, calculating, figuring out, using this. Because when you're in the now and who you are spontaneous and you are transcendental, because you are fully being in who you are, beyond the thinking, beyond the judging, beyond the envy and criticism, especially is just envy.